Welcome, my name is Neil Harvey and you're watching RT International, where we start this hour with breaking news because the UN has adopted a resolution that condemns the construction of Israeli settlements on Palestinian territories. Our correspondent Paula Sleer joins us live on the line. Paula, just take us through then the voting on this resolution.
Well, here in Israel, it's still Friday night. It's the start of the Shabbat. So at the moment, the reaction to this resolution is very slow, but we're likely to see a lot more in the coming hours. So far, the Israeli envoy to the United Nations has criticized the United States for not using its veto power. Also, at least one Israeli minister saying that the United States, to quote, has abandoned Israel. We're also hearing from some Jewish American groups who've come out critical of the U.S. abstention. Now, it follows the United Nations Security Council voting in favor of a resolution that demands that Israel stop its settlement building on occupied Palestinian territory. And what's hugely historical is that this is the first resolution that the Security Council has adopted on Israel and the Palestinians in nearly 8 years. And this is because for the first time the United States has abstained. The US in the past has always vetoed such resolutions. Before the vote, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu asked the United States to veto the resolution, and in fact, this is what he had to say.
Israelis deeply appreciate one of the great pillars of the U.S.-Israel alliance, the willingness over many years of the United States to stand up in the UN and veto anti-Israel resolutions. I hope the U.S. won't abandon this policy.
Now, the resolution was put forward by New Zealand, Malaysia, Venezuela and Senegal, and it comes a day after Egypt initially put forward the resolution but withdrew it under pressure from Israel and the United States President-elect Donald Trump. Israel and Trump had called on the United States to veto this measure. Now, the resolution was adopted with 14 votes in favor to a round of applause. The United States abstention was the biggest rebuke in recent history to its long-standing ally Israel, and no doubt in the coming days a lot will be made of this. The resolution basically says that Israel's settlements on Palestinian territory that have been occupied since 1967, including East Jerusalem, have to, quote, no legal validity. Now, in recent years, settlements here in Israel, across the West Bank and in East Jerusalem have expanded. So such a resolution, no doubt, will have a big impact on what is happening on the ground.
That's our Middle East correspondent Paula Sleer bringing us the latest information on that resolution. Now, Ramzi Baroud, who's editor of the Palestine Chronicle, thinks that Obama had a personal reason for not vetoing that resolution.
I think that Obama has spent 8 years really trying his very best to prove to Israel that he is an amiable president, that he is pro-Israel. From the very, very beginning, they questioned everything about him, even his middle name. And as a result, Obama really labored to prove his allegiance to the state of Israel, with Netanyahu not giving him a chance or even gratitude for all that he has done. And perhaps this is Obama's kind of, like big finale, that he actually got back at Israel. More or less is not going to do much difference, because there is really no practical mechanism as of yet of how Israel should be pressured to implement these resolutions, whether this or the many others that passed in recent decades.